So hello, another founder in car, and today we will talk a little bit more about business and what is happening now currently. So because of the additional cost of resources, but also something like gasoline and gas, because of the conflict between Russia and Ukraine, but also the already ongoing inflation. It's not only that your prices of your gas bill, when you cannot retrieve it anymore from Russia, but also the prices of your gasoline, because you have to drive your car, gasoline and diesel. But all items will further increase in price. And why is that? For example, if you go to the groceries, it's already a big inflation that we had over the last years due to COVID especially. Those groceries also have to be brought with a truck or a ship or whatever, and those also use the resources. So what that relates to is that we already had high inflation, but now due to this conflict and the resources are also becoming more and more scarce, or in another way higher, because they are not available anymore that easily due to a conflict, for example with the gas, everything will stumble down even more. And there's an additional factor, because prices are rising and people want to keep their buying power. Of course they also want higher paychecks, so they want a pay raise. And if the pay raise is an additional factor, it's not only the resources that are increasing in cost for a company, but also the labor. So the workforce, the costs are increased again, and that will put an additional layer on the inflation and therefore also the cost of living again. So it's spiraling down now, and that's a thing that is not good, of course, because everything will continue to become more expensive. It's also not that good for those people that are now with their retirement, because their retirement funds are not sufficient anymore. If you look at a safe withdrawal rate of 4% per year, and you already have 10% inflation last year before this conflict, you can imagine what will happen. People don't get the pay raises, of course, and things will become more expensive and more expensive. And that's the thing that will just be like a plague. It will just be like a plague, because it will not be stopped that easily. And of course we should not be negative, we should always look at the bright side of life, and I agree. But that's something that I think should be said. And why should it be said? Because, as I mentioned, I want to be positive. Yes, I want to be. But if you're not looking at the things that are happening, you can just put your head in the sand, like the ostrich method. But the problems won't go away. The stress that you feel about the problems, of course, will be less. But in the longer run, when those problems are, as I mentioned, spiraling down and spiraling down, so it will be layer upon layer, it might be a lot harder to do something about it and to make yourself anti-fragile again. It will become harder and harder, and therefore if you know this at an early stage, as early as possible, you can do as much as possible without, how do you say that? Without all the damages that already has been done. So if there is something that you can do now to simplify your life, that will pay a lot of dividend, I think. Huge amount of dividend. So it's something to consider. I'm not trying to be the negative guy, of course not. but also we should be a little bit more realistic when there is a problem, and therefore I mentioned this to you. So foundering car out, have a great day. Don't let the blues get you down, but think what you can do at this moment, and it will really also put layer upon layer to make you less fragile. Have a great day.